Welcome to the Grown Up Group. This is a podcast of regular people tackling the world from a Black perspective. Today's discussion, we're going to be going over inappropriate relationships. What do you deem an inappropriate relationship and what does that look like? We're going to go into actually the team. I'm Ty. I'm with Kira, Victor, and our guests today, Devin and Dee. Welcome to the show, guys. So
What's
we'll go
up?
into our questions and we'll start it off with Kira.
Hi guys, how are you tonight?
Good, how are you?
I'm good. So my first question is, can you guys tell us a little bit about yourselves?
Hi, my name is Devin. I'm currently a shift lead in training. I'm 28 years old.
Hmm.
I like to think I have a little bit of knowledge in this dating experience.
Dee, your turn.
Hi, my name is Dee. I'm 23 years old. I am a front of house worker. I don't know. I don't think I want to say I have a lot of experience when it comes to dating, but I have a lot of advice I can give.
Right. I just wanted to put this out there. Devin, I did not expect for you to say that you were 28. I thought you were going to say 23 also. You both guys both look, I thought you were twins at first.
They always say that every time without fail.
Okay, so my second question is, what do you look for in a relationship?
Me personally, I go for like personality type. Like if I can have a
Right,
good time around you and not feel pressure to like do anything, like if the vibes are there, we just instantly click and I'm just having an overall good time, then that's a bonus. That's good. Looks to me are just a bonus. So it's like I don't really go for looks. Like on a scale of 1 to 10, if she's like let's say like she's average looking, I wouldn't really mind that because
right,
I'm such a good time and the vibes are there. We're just having an overall good time. So I wouldn't really mind if she was average looking.
right. D.
Okay. Um, I'll probably go for someone kind of similar to what Devin said. You know, a good personality, someone who isn't crazy, because I have to be the crazy one in a relationship. Um, I don't I don't really care about like age or looks. If they look good, they look good. Good for them. But like I really go for personality. I don't really care about how they look. It's just all about, you know, how much how well we get along and how bad it
Right,
can get to be. So long as it doesn't get to be too bad, we'll be fine.
right. I mean, that makes a lot of sense. A lot of people go for looks, but they don't go for the personality and us just being normal people and just having a good time. That will bring people closer when you look into a person's own personality and just vibing together and things like that. So my third question is, excuse me, what do you consider is an inappropriate relationship?
Um, like inappropriate. Okay, because there's levels to it. So if we're talking age wise, like since I'm 28, if I'm dating someone that's 18, that's completely out of line. By
Right,
no means should you be talking to someone fresh out of high school and you're almost 30. There, there's a number of things that are inappropriate relationships. Like let's say a family friend and some their their friend's daughter, if they start
right,
dating me personally, that's inappropriate because you've watched this little girl or boy grow up to the person that they
right,
are and you feel the need to start dating them. That's just weird.
right, right. No, I think yeah, I definitely get it. It's definitely weird when you watch somebody grow up and now here you is there, and it make me feel like you've been watching me ever since I was a baby. So I definitely get that part. D, yes.
Well, since he touched on age, I think we should touch on, well, I'm going to touch on at least, um, what, like the, kind of like a power imbalance, like someone who's like a celebrity or like a well-known among like, a community or a group of people or just in general, the general public knows about them. And then someone who's like
Right,
a fan of theirs. It's so
right,
inappropriate, and there's definitely a power imbalance there, and they know this, but they don't see anything wrong about it until someone says something, and they're probably still not going to do anything about it because as long as they're happy together, they don't want to think, they don't really care about what other people think what they're doing, whether it be in public or behind closed doors. In general, I don't think that something like that is appropriate. That also can lead to an age difference because usually, these actors are like 20, 30, sometimes in their 40s and still acting, and their fans are people who are like my age or even younger, and it's wrong. It's inappropriate.
right. Okay, so my last question for you guys is, do you think it's inappropriate for a man to date someone younger? And if so, or if not, and by how many years?
I don't think it's inappropriate to an extent because if use my age again, since I'm 28, the lowest I would go is like 24, 25. That's it. Any more is pushing it because then you're stepping into predatory territory. You never want to reach that point. So which is why I will never go below the age of 24, and I will never go above the age of, like, let's say 32 for me. Any more than that,
Right.
it's pushing it. So
Want to say by law that, like, for minors, because some people say like, oh, because he's 18 and she's 15, that's not right, he's still adult. But if by law they go by the 4 or 5 year difference, so it would be okay for a 15-year-old to date a 18-year-old, but we consider an 18-year-old as an adult and a 15-year-old as a minor, which is that right there. I don't agree, but that's the law. Okay. Oh, same question for D.
If we're going by like our personal age, I would not be dating anyone younger than the age of 21, only because I'm 23. I'm allowed to legally drink. I don't think it's appropriate to be dating someone, at least outside of the house, outside of like, closed doors, personal, private places, to be 23 or up or 21 and up and dating someone who's like 18, 19, 20. I, if I want to go out and have a good time, I want to bring, my significant other with me. And if that involves
Right.
drinking, I want them to be able to drink with me instead of just being my dedicated driver. It doesn't feel right to me. It feels weird, honestly. So
Right.
the youngest I would say I go if I wasn't 23, like if I was like 21 and younger, I would say the youngest I would go is 20. But since I'm 23, the youngest I'm going is 21. I don't think it's appropriate for a guy to do anything like to do the same, to do not what I'm doing. If a guy were to date like, I don't know, a 21-year-old as like a 26 or 27-year-old, I would find that really weird, kind of inappropriate. It's not my place to say anything, honestly, but if I were to say something, I'd honestly be asking her, is this okay with you? Because that
Right.
seems weird. And I'd honestly be a little concerned. But the oldest I feel like a guy should be dating, depending on his age, I think you should be giving it 3 years. 4 years tops. 5 years is honestly pushing it. I wouldn't want anyone, you know, I don't know, 25 dating someone who's 30, 32. That just doesn't feel
Right.
right to me. I would try to keep it within like the same age group, like 20-year-olds, 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds. I wouldn't go outside of that number.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
that makes sense. I love the responses that I'm hearing so far between Devin and Dee. I do want to say that I also want to just touch on a little bit of our perspective because I can't help
Right.
of course. So I wanted to get, I can't help myself. So I wanted to get the feedback from Kira and Victor on where you guys stand. I know a little bit about you all. What do you think is an inappropriate relationship, Kira?
Inappropriate relationship. I mean, they talked about a lot of it. When I think about inappropriate relationship, I think about like about being disrespectful to each other. I think about touchy-feely people. I think about age differences and things like that. Because I'm the same way, although I'm 48, I'm at a limit where I'm just like, you know what, that's too young.
Hmm.
I don't know if like 40 would be too young for me, but 55 would be too old. So I'm in between there. So I'm just like the same way. So I'm just like, that's for me. And it's not, I mean, it's not inappropriate for me, but I feel like that. I feel like if an older guy like come to me like 60 something years old, I'm just like, no, like you old enough to be my dad, you could be,
Yeah,
or whatever. I feel like that. So yeah, inappropriate relationship to me, that's what I think of when you say inappropriate relationship.
right. Okay, Victor, delve into the inappropriate relationship and what you feel is an inappropriate relationship.
Sure, sure. As far as an inappropriate relationship, I think it's on a sliding scale. I like what a lot of you, with Dee and Devin touched on. If someone's 18, 19, I kind of get why, if you're in your early 20s, you don't want to date that low because you're growing into a sense of maturity that person hasn't reached just then. I think the only way I would say it's a little different is once we start getting up into the 20s. Anything after, anything after D said, anything after 23, I think it's pretty much fair game because now you're dealing with actual adults.
Right.
Now if you're 23 and the person's 67, yeah, that's going to look weird, but you know what? It's legal. You're all adults. Rock out.
Mm.
Right.
For me personally, I wouldn't necessarily take it to that extreme, but for me, the sliding scale up or down, it can vary as long as they're within what I consider an adult range.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much for your input. I deem inappropriate relationships as not just the age factor, but also to the point of grooming, manipulation, any type of volatile situation. Because, while age may play a factor, it's always based on someone's mental maturity as well. Not necessarily an age. You could date someone that can be, 50, but if they have the mindset of a 5-year old or not don't have the maturity that they need, then it's basically like dating a child again. So I also take into
Right.
consideration not just the age factor, because I know ageism, it exists. I know that someone that is a male would love to date someone that's younger, especially if they're looking to procreate, they're looking to actually have some existence in this world and, have someone that's lively and more lively. There's some benefits to someone that's being younger. She's less used. That's terrible, thought process, but that I know that it exists out there in this world. So I don't just look at inappropriate relationships as just an age factor. I think of the maturity concept and as well as, who we are as people. If the personality, as Dee touched on lightly, if the personality doesn't match, then that's definitely, something that I would look at and say, that's a problem for me. Personality wise, we have nothing in common. If it feels more forced than it feels natural, then that's something that you shouldn't possibly be in. So I look into that. So I'm going to delve into this next question. It's very much like the last question, but it does switch the role of gender. Is it inappropriate for a woman to date someone younger, and by how many years? Notice how always men it's okay for a man to date someone that's younger, but if it was an older woman and she's dating someone younger, it's always like a nay or a negative stance on it. So what are you guys' thoughts on women? What is the dating age for a woman, and should she date someone younger?
I don't care that she dates younger. It all depends on like how much younger they're going.
Mm,
Because there are a few celebrities that I can think of right off the bat female celebrities that are dating, well, only one female celebrity that is dating younger by a real significant age. And, it's just weird because it's like, I get it. You're 40, you're 50, 60s, okay, but you're dating someone in their 30s. That's like a whole 20-year age gap.
Mhm.
That's not right. Like, I could see 10, even 10 years is kind of weird because anything over double digits is weird. Like, once you hit double digits, it's just weird. So I think if you're 50, don't date anyone that's like in their 30s. Stick between like 45 and up. That's just me personally.
Yeah. And you said you think of some couple of celebrities. I immediately went to Madonna, Cher, Kris Jenner.
Mm.
Like they all have younger, black men on top of it, young black men. And I think of that from a manipulation standpoint and a mental standpoint. I have something over you, and that's power dynamic that Dee spoke of. Think about that. I have something you don't. Fame, fortune, money.
Right.
Yeah, you could come up off of me. So using that to kind of navigate and manipulate and groom these young men, even though they may be in their 20s, 30s, and 40s, there's still an art of doing that, even though you may be older. You don't know what capacity mentally they may be in, but I see it happen a lot there. Dee, what are your thoughts on women? What do you think about women dating someone younger?
Well, it's kind of the same as what I said for men dating women who are younger than them or women who are older than them. It's pretty much the same thing. I don't think you should be dating anyone too young or too old. Well, much younger or much older than you, because it just is, in my eyes, deemed inappropriate. Like, let's take my brother, for example. Let's say he comes home with someone who's like my age or younger. I'm gonna be honest, I don't think he'd be able to walk out of the house the next day with his own two legs. So there's that. But he knows better because I am here to tell him that that's not okay. But women dating younger men, it's not appropriate to what extent? A certain amount of years, few years, no more than 4.
Mm,
That's my rule of thumb, at least.
mm,
I can think of at least one celebrity who is dating a woman who is at least 30 years older than him, old enough to be his mother, possibly his grandmother. And, good for him, I guess, if he's happy. As long as she's alive, when he gets to his 60s, they'll be fine.
So I wanted to get your thoughts on it too, Kira. What are your thoughts on women dating younger men?
Women dating younger men. I mean, it depends on the age gap in between. I mean, if they in it for the fun or if they in it just, I say, hey, what I say, Stella, get your groove on, get your groove back. I mean, but if you dating if he's younger, depending on how much younger and depending on how much older she is, sometimes it works out, sometimes it don't, because I always say, especially if that female has children and her children are grown and this man doesn't have children, what about if he wants children? I
Mm,
always think about that possibility right there. If he wants children, that's just like me. If I'm going out and go date a 30-year-old and he say, okay, I want kids, I'm like, yeah, well, I'm 48, I'm not having kids, mine are grown, and it's just not going to happen. So that relationship right there is just not going to work out because he's going to go to somebody younger who's going to be able to have children for him. So if you in it for the fun, okay. But if you in it for the long run, nah, I'm good. It just don't work out sometimes.
I'm in agreement there. So, Victor, what are your thoughts on women dating?
It's pretty much how I feel about the guys. It's hey, as long as we ain't breaking no laws, knock yourself out. And a side note, right? I normally don't like going into celebrity stuff, but I see some of them dudes. They going for a come up. I'm not beat. Ain't
Yeah,
nobody being taken advantage of in there. Ain't nobody
yeah,
being groomed. We all know what it's for. They want
right.
some young male attention. and these men need to come up. It is what it is.
Right.
Same thing with the female. Everybody knows what they're doing. Look, we all got the same internet, as I like to say. So it is what it is.
Okay. So I do want to speak on it because I feel that it comes from a place that I'm an older woman, so I'm not looking at anybody in their 30s. I'm not looking at anybody in their 20s. I'll take in consideration what Kira spoke on the procreation and what I have to offer them, what they may have to offer me mentally and emotionally is not going to be the same. What I experienced in my 20s is not who I am today in my 40s. So I know that that's going to be two different mindsets. I know that they're not are never going to meet in the middle. We may be temporarily, when we close the doors. That's a different thing. Intimacy and maturity is two different worlds. So you get the two and you rattle them up in a bottle, they're never going to sync up. That's how I look at it. So me as, woman, and I did address say those older celebrities, and of course they're looking for a come up. Yeah, nobody's being groomed, but somebody's being groomed. Um, when I think about the age level, yeah, you could laugh and it's fine. But when you think about the age level of something, when those men hit in their 50s and 60s and they're at that age that those women are in, they will probably have a different mindset and see that, hey, you know what? I wasted all my good years and my young years focusing on this 70, 80-year-old woman. And they may not see that today because they are looking for that come up. I agree 100%. But then when you go back and you notice more, your mortality is now wasted on older beings, people that's probably going to be buried, you know what I mean, in the upcoming 10 years. Like that's a big difference to me. So I'm sorry, while you may say that because they get to stick their, penis in another member and make some money off of that. That's not necessarily what is the most important piece. Who cares about that at the end of the day when you wasted your vital years on an individual
Mhm.
that could do nothing for you at the end of the day? That's more important. The mental, that's why I go back to the mental and emotional. Because what does a dollar do for you if it's spent? Nothing. You can't get those years back. And I think that's where I'm coming from when I speak and I say there's celebrities that are still taking advantage of younger black men in our community, and they may not realize it today, but they will in 10, 20 years. That's my thoughts on it. So, in my regards to a younger woman, a woman dating someone younger or much older than their, it has to be a maturity thing. It has to be a mindset thing. Yeah, if we're on the same page, I can see it being a temporary situation and setting, as Kara spoke on, but I can't see it for longevity, and I can't see anything great coming from that. Where neither one of them will have regrets in the future. So that's just my thoughts on it. Does age play a factor in your attraction towards a woman or a man?
Um, I mean, yes and no. If I know their age beforehand, then it most definitely does. I can't even say kind of, it does play a part. But if I don't know their age, I usually try to figure that out before even thinking to move into whatever I could do. So as long as I know how old they are, and if they're like not too far off what I would willingly date, older or younger, then it's not a problem.
Seven, please.
Does necessarily because my mother, she's in her 50s, but you wouldn't think it. And that's not on nothing creepy. That's just me acknowledging that, for her age, my mother looks really good. Like, and there are a lot of females out here and males out here that are in that age range that look really good. And it's like they're just they must just have really good genes, I guess, to
Mhm.
be looking that good at that age. Prime example, Steve Harvey. I don't even know how old this man is, but he's
A million,
a handsome fella.
Right.
million years old.
Samuel Jackson. That man is old. That man is old, but he's another handsome fella, and I would watch any of his movies. But yeah, that's my take on it.
Yeah, it makes sense. I think about Angela Bassett, yeah, beautiful, beautiful,
Oh,
woman, beautiful.
I
Don't
love
look a
her.
day over 30. But you
For
look
real.
at her, she's 70. So I mean, you know, flawless, you know,
How old?
flawless, beautiful. Regina King as well. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yes.
Regina King.
Mm-mm.
Beautiful. Yeah,
Yes.
beautiful. Yeah, there's a lot of people. Even if like, you know, whenever you go and you go somewhere and they'll even ask us like, "Oh, how old are you?" Look at, you know, Kira's, you know, open comments to you, Devin, when she had it, you said your age. She looked at you, she would never be able to tell you a day over 23. There you go.
Right.
You know, like think about that. Like, you know, that's the great thing about our blackness is that we, you know, our skin doesn't tell our age. It doesn't give, you know, this warning signs of wrinkles, and it doesn't give us that, you know, the sun has worked on our side for so many years. So that's definitely a plus. Thank you guys for your input on the age playing a factor in your attraction towards someone. What are your thoughts on grooming?
I don't really know. I personally have never seen it in action. I really hope and pray to the Lord Jesus himself I never have to. Um,
Facts.
but the thought of watching someone grow from a young age, taking them like like someone like you're a family friend, taking them to like parks or like doing fun things for them and their friends, and you know, watching them grow up from like this little baby that you can hold in your arms and like, you know, coochie coochie coo type stuff. And then, you know, they're like a full grown adult, like graduating high school, moving on to college. And then, you know, since they have you in such a positive light and, you know, they always associate positive feelings with you and stuff like that. And then you move into that, you move on to them as they literally like just start college. I don't think that's right. I don't think that's right. I can think of plenty of like celebrities, whether it be like A-list celebrities or like, you know, B, C, D-list celebrities who have a a significant age difference. And it's like they they met these, like I always think about it like this. Take their age and take the younger person's age and subtract them and like, you know, see how much of a difference it is. And then think about like what year in school they're doing when the other person's born, when younger person's born. You are 0 years old, just born. And what is your significant other currently that you're going to marry farther down the line doing? They're in high school. That's weird.
Yeah, it
I
is.
can't imagine that.
Yeah. Devin, please provide us your insight.
Uh, to piggyback off what Demetri said with the whole family friend or like the age thing, it's just not right because like she said, you've watched this person grow up or you've come around their family, became close with them and their family, and now all of a sudden you want to try dating each other. That's weird, and that's form of grooming because like you're doing all of these things just to date me or do anything else other than be friends. That's weird and it's not appropriate. Prime example, I'm pretty Leah and R. Kelly. She was 19, he was in his 30s. He groomed her and it just wasn't right. She was on her way to becoming one of the biggest stars and she got killed off. I wholeheartedly will never forgive anyone who was in cahoots with that because she could have been so much better and she deserved so much more and better than R. Kelly.
Yeah. I agree. Beautiful Life's cut short is just really traumatizing. Not only that, you know, it's what has happened to her before then that's even
Right.
more, you know, worse to the storyline. So I agree with that 100%. I do want to talk about grooming in adult relationships because grooming comes in so many different forms. And I don't know if you guys are aware of how many types of different grooming things that they categorize under, but I'll give them to you so you guys just have some knowledge. Gifts. Gifts is something because now you feel you owe me something. You know, remember
Mm,
that time I gave you something? So, you know, thinking about the value of it, it could be something so small and simple, a doll or, you know, a candy. So what you gonna give me for that now? Like, think about that obligation you put on somebody because I gift you something. Victim selection, meaning they sat back and prayed. They sat back and selected mentally. I think about Diddy when he went after Casey. What did he do? Cassie, is her name Cassie or Casey? I don't even fucking know. Cassie, when he went to after Cassie, like what did he do? He isolated her. He invited her to a party, knowing she was in a relationship with somebody else. He invited her to a solo party and said, "Hey, there's a only, stars only, show that you can come because you just new to this industry." And what did she do? She went. She went solo, guard down, and the next thing you know, boom, 5 years later, trapped in this relationship with a man much older than her. She was 16 years old when she met that man. So victim selection is really important. He saw something he liked. He saw something he liked, and he sought after her. So that speaks in volume. Groomers often financially abuse their victims financially. Think about that. I have something, I'm gonna dangle it over you, and I'm gonna throw gifts your way. I'm gonna throw money your way, and then every single time you need something, I'm gonna be like, I can help you, but I'm gonna help you, but that's another form of it. So not just gifts, not just victim selection, but it's also financial abuse that they do onto their victims. Keeping secrets, keeping secrets. Don't forget that thing I know about you. I'm gonna tell it.
Mm,
I'm gonna tell it to I'm gonna tell it to everybody. You don't want me to tell me your mother what you did. You don't want me to tell your father what you out here doing. That's another thing. It's a shame. It's a thing to kind of put shame on you. So keeping secrets and trying to hold that against you, making suggestive or sexual comments. Hmm. Think about people. They're sitting there like with their hands, like, rubbed together, like, I could, think about that. Sexual comments, things that people say to you that are suggestive. It could even be at work. So you got to be really careful who you have in your circle and people you have around. um Giving attention. If I give you too much attention, after I see that you don't get much attention elsewhere, you're going to start looking at me in a different light, if especially if you lack attention elsewhere. So if you in a home where you have multiple children, notice that happens a lot in families that are big families, and you're seeking attention, I now can come after you. I know you can be a victim for me because you lack the attention from your loved one, so I'm giving you that attention and spotlight, and now you're going to see as me as like an open person and come and seek attention from, and then I'm going to find an opportunity to use you in a way that may be inappropriate. Maintaining control. Control is something. You can't come, go, do anything on your own. You're isolated. Then, you know, taken away from everyone else that may help you. That's another thing. And then targeting your victim, not just selecting them, but now you have to target them and be like, I know this person. So what would you do? Constantly be in that person's face, constantly make sure that person's aware of your existence. That's another form of it. Targeting sexual grooming as well. Sexual grooming, I start off with light play or sexual thing. I may touch your leg. You let me touch your leg. Now touching your shoulder. Suggestive. That's suggestive in action as well as in, words. So it's things like that that kind of take people off guard. You never think that this is what's happening to you until boom, it's too late and now you're involved in a situation where it may be. But I wanted to make sure I shed light on the grooming process and exactly what it entails, because it may be signs that people out there may not even realize that's what it is, but they're all inappropriate, especially in a relationship with someone that's younger or older. So there we are. Um,
mm.
do you think the only way to have a relationship with someone younger is to groom and manipulate them?
Absolutely not. I think there's multiple ways to have like relationships with people that are younger. You can like I like to have strictly platonic relationships with people that are way younger than me because with me at my age, like let's say if I just, hang out with like if I'm in like a public park or something with someone, that could be deemed completely inappropriate, but it's like I'm not doing anything, we're out in the public. If anything happens, someone would say something. So there's more than one way to have relationships with someone younger, and it's just, mm, and it's not all about just like trying to groom them. They're like I said, just strictly platonic for me at least.
Okay. Yeah. D, please give us your thoughts on it. Do you think the only way to have a relationship with someone younger is to groom or manipulate them?
I don't think if you're going into a relationship with someone who is, I don't think if you're going to try and be in any way, shape, or form closer with someone who is younger than you, that the first thing you think to do is to groom and or manipulate them. I don't think you should be around them in general.
Okay.
That's how I feel.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to pass the baton over to Victor so he could proceed further with the questions.
All right. Yeah, my questions are real simple. Do you feel like the age gap impacts relationships at all?
To an extent, I do. Because if you're so much older than me, you've built, let's say you built this network of really powerful people, you have more connections than me, I'm gonna continue with this relationship, even though it's completely inappropriate for those connections.
Mm,
And as bad as that sounds, it could be a way out at the end of the day. Like I could use your connections as a way out of that relationship because the age gap, there could be more to it than just the age gap, but the age gap is way too inappropriate for me.
It can. Sometimes it's a good thing, sometimes it's a bad thing. Usually, if, okay, usually, not all the time. Sometimes, if you're like younger, dating someone a little older, it can be a good thing because as Devin said, they have connections, they know people, they have a little bit more money than you. They're more financially well off than you. So I'm not saying you mooch off of them. I'm just saying you are in a relationship with them or you're married to them or whatever. It's a good thing. But if it's you know going in the wrong direction, it's a bad thing. Like they're older than you and they like try to like make you do things you don't want to or whatever, then yeah, that's a bad thing. But sometimes you have to look at the positive side of things, and that's what I'm currently doing.
okay. 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 All right. Let's see. My next question would be: are you comfortable with them hanging out with your friends?
Um, like the person who's older, dating, like
Yeah.
being around my friends,
Would you be comfortable with them hanging out with you and your friends?
as long as my friends are around my age and you know they're not trying to be inappropriate towards them, or I don't think they're trying to be inappropriate towards them, then yeah, it shouldn't be too weird, hopefully.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I I completely agree. Like I'm gonna let my friends know first ahead of time, but like, hey, I'm bringing so and so, the person I've been dating, and they're significantly older than me. And as long as my friends are okay with that, and we just have like an overall good time, and no one's acting weird towards each other, then by all means, let's hang out.
Okay. Okay. Would either of you be embarrassed to date someone younger or older?
No.
Mm, I don't know. It all depends on like once again, it all depends on like how much older or how much younger we're talking. But if they're not too much younger or too much older, then no, I don't really have a problem with it. I wouldn't be embarrassed.
I guess that's all my questions for today.
So, I want to turn this segment into a little bit of information just to let you guys know, based on psychcentral.com, the current age gap for relationships that seems to be the common is 1 to 3 years. Men older than women normally. The most common, that is what it's stating. The relationship satisfaction decreased slightly since 2022. The age gaps difference that was affected is 4 to 6 years, and seven has decreased over 60% in the last years. So in the last 2 years, and I think this is coming to light with a lot of the, what is it, sexual allegations and things that's coming into play. A lot of people are starting to feel that shame. A lot of people are starting to feel that maybe we shouldn't be doing this type of conversations and having that and then falling off since the last 2 years. So you see that it has dropped drastically from 1 to 3 years in relationships now to from 4 to 6 years and 7. That was the two highest dating parameters in age in the and it dropped near 60%. So go to psychcentral.com. They have a lot of those statistics where it shows from 2022 to today. That's crazy. Noting that those were the age gaps. 4 to 6 years to 7. Ooh. And then now the common norm is 1 to 3 years. That's great to know that that's been the change there in that information. So just wanted to make sure I gave you guys a little bit of the statistics, and I want to turn the game over to appropriate or not. That's pretty much the segment right now. So I'm going to give you guys the age. I'm going to give you a scenario, and you say appropriate or not. So guy is 17, girl is 13. Appropriate or not?
Mm.
No.
No, I don't think so either. Kira?
So inappropriate.
Okay. Victor?
So not inappropriate.
Victor?
Not inappropriate as long as it's during the school year. Once that 17-year-old graduates, then it's inappropriate.
Oh, no, I don't think that's appropriate. Okay. We'll move along.
That's a
Girl
freshman
is
and a senior.
That's an 8th grader and a senior.
No, that's a freshman and a senior.
a freshman and a senior, but still, I don't think it's
At
appropriate.
13?
13.
Yes.
Oh,
I was a
thought it was
13-year-old freshman then.
It
I
could
was
happen.
an 8th grader and a junior, but it's still weird.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think
No,
it's
8th grader and a junior are two totally different children.
I
Well,
think it's still weird. No. Okay.
And
Let's
that's
move
what I was
forward.
saying earlier about they were saying the age gap right there. So you 13, the 4-year
Oh
difference right
yeah.
there is okay. But it seems creepy. A 13 and a 17-year-old, you damn near grown.
Yeah,
And that's
They're not.
17-year-old ones different things than a 13-year-old ones, definitely.
Exactly. Exactly. A 13-year-old just want to say, oh, I have a boyfriend. The 17-year-old want to be like, all right, let's get it popping.
That's how I look at it too. That's exactly where
But
my
that's why I
mindset went.
said as long as it's throughout the school year, I don't see a problem with it. Once June hits and everybody's time to graduate, yeah, you got to cut that one off.
Yeah,
You are
but
going
during the
into a
school year, you're
different
not gonna
realm.
want to hit. During the school year, you're not gonna want to hit.
You're going to want
I
to
mean,
hit all through the school year.
a 13-year-old boy is going to want to hit just as bad as a 17-year-old boy.
and
Okay, we'll move forward. Guy is 15, girl is 15, guy is 13.
that's not
It's not
that's
too
not
bad.
that's not
You said guy
inappropriate.
is 15, girl is 13.
Girl is 15, guy is 13.
Oh, I thought you said 15 and 17.
Nope. Girl is 15, guy is 13. That's
It,
appropriate.
It's not as inappropriate.
It's
It's
two
still
years. Yeah.
it's not too bad.
it's
That
still like a freshman and or like junior high schooler and like someone who's in high school.
Yeah.
that's I, that's a little that's not, yeah, like you just said, it's not as inappropriate, but like that's still a little inappropriate.
Okay. All right. Woman is 25, guy is 21. That's good.
Yeah, that's good.
That's
That's
appropriate.
Yeah,
appropriate.
That's appropriate. They're both legal. Knock yourself out.
yeah.
Right? Man is 42, woman is 22.
Oh,
Ooh, that's
oh,
like what, 22? I mean, 22
that's a
years
that's a
difference.
20-year difference. Ugh.
20 year.
42. I lied. That's not appropriate.
Um, the only way I'd say it's appropriate is because they're both legal, but because it's such a big age gap, I might have to say it's just a little inappropriate.
Okay. Woman is 52, guy is 30.
Mm, nah,
Exactly like you said.
not appropriate.
I don't know when is a big age gap like that. If I'm 30 and he's 52, I just feel like I'm dating my dad.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't understand it. I'm like, I would not have no attraction at all. I'd be like, I'm out. I can't do this. My
Right.
father's this
And
age.
that's
I can't do it.
Plus,
That's like
like
I said.
that person is probably using the other person for a come up
Yeah.
of mind.
But I thought the same thing with the 42-year-old man and the 22-year-old woman. That could be his child. He could have a
Yeah,
Right.
daughter that age. Like, that's crazy to me. But yeah, that's where my mind immediately went. Guy is 28, woman is 50.
absolutely not. Absolutely not. There's no defending that. Throw her in jail. He's
Throw her
fresh.
in jail. Throw her in jail.
In jail is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Right. Even though
Whew.
they both legal, but
I know. That's what I was gonna say. They all of once you hit 21, you are legal. But the relationship you have is your own. If you have a maturity level that's slightly higher or something, maybe that's why you could date someone that's much older. I just can't see it. When I was younger, I did have an older boyfriend, but it was a come up. So I did understand that I needed a roof over my head. So I did what I needed to do. There's a big difference. Like, and that's why I said, like, I spoke to what Victor said earlier about those celebrities that date those younger guys. It's like you don't realize how much of an effect and cause it is until you're like, well into your older years and you're like, what? I waste my time dating an old man for like that? What was I thinking and what was I doing? Like, but it's too late. The time has passed. So you have no choice
right.
but to get over it. I want to thank you guys, Devin and Dee, for joining the Grown Up Group podcast because we wanted to get into those inappropriate relationships. We see those are the subjects that's going on today. It's something in current events that's constantly coming up. So I wanted to get to inappropriate relationships and have this conversation. I thank you guys tremendously for your input. I hear everything you guys are saying. You guys have any final words before you go?
Stay safe. Don't do drugs unless it's medicinally. And don't date younger than like 4 years unless you want to be weird. You know.
Unless you want to be weird. Devin, please.
Have fun. Stay safe. Drink responsibly, please.
There we go. That's a great one right there. That's a great way to wrap. Kara, Victor, any final thoughts on the grown up group segment?
I gotta say the same thing. Have fun. I mean, that's always my motto. With a big age gap like that, long as it's legal, both legal, and not too much of a gap, but just stay safe and watch out for the signs of grooming and things like that. So you recognize those grooming signs, get out.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's always wonderful to get an insight from the next generation because you guys are the future leaders. As far as the actual topic, I mean, like Kira said, just be legal for Christ's sakes. All right, we don't need none of you R. Kellys and Shellys out there harming and grooming these poor children, messing their minds up so they can ruin the future generations for their babies. So that's about it. All right.
So thank you guys for joining us. I'm Ty here with Kira, Victor, and our guests, Devin and Dee. Thank you guys so much. We will look forward to you guys joining us in the next segment, Grown Up Group. We appreciate it. Like, share, and subscribe.